Hello, 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 guys. How are you today? Good? Excellent. Okay, so today we are talking about setting goals. So, setting goals for 2026. Okay, so let me just share. I wanted to share my screen and have a look at this presentation I created in here. So let's get started just going through the slides, okay, so that we can talk about setting goals and, how to make sure that we meet our goals now that we are almost in 2026, okay? So let's get started. Well, first of all, the way I see goals is basically as an opportunity to practice my commitment to myself. Okay. So I see goals as an opportunity to work on meeting my own promises. Okay. So goals for me are not punishments or proof of worth. I do not attach them to my self worth. I really just use them as an opportunity to just improve my life, my well-being, and also my commitment to myself. Okay. So maybe see them as a way to just improve your relationship with your own self rather than as a way to prove anything to anyone, but instead as a way to just give yourself a better lifestyle. Okay, so first of all, before we set goals, we have to reflect on previous goals. So think about what worked in 2025. This is something that helps me a lot to analyze my own strengths, is to look at what helped me in 2025. Okay. Also, analyze what drained you. So, what are your weaknesses? What have been the moments when you look back and you're like, okay, yes, I need to become stronger in this, because if not, I'm not going to do my best, or I'm not going to achieve my goal. So analyze what drained you, if you had distractions, if you had people around you, and think also about what you are proud of. So what are your main achievements? This is a great way for you to see that you can achieve what you set your mind to do, because you are valuing your own achievements, you're being proud of them, and you see that you have made progress already in 2025. Okay. And also it's important to analyze what can you do differently. Okay, so what can you do differently this upcoming year that might completely change maybe the speed at which you achieve your goals, and also, the number of goals that you achieve? Okay, so reflecting on those things before you set your goal is so important, okay? Because only when you reflect, you can actually set realistic goals instead of having a list of things that you never really achieve, okay? So reflect before planning. The other day, I actually took a moment to create my own vision board. And I love to do this, and I recommend that you guys do this, because creating your own vision board helps you a lot, okay? To just be clear about what you need to achieve and what you really want to do. You can pick images from the internet, okay? You can create it on your laptop. I personally went onto a design tool and just basically gathered a few images that inspire me to achieve my main goals. And you can set these on your background in your iPhone or your mobile phone. And also you can put it on your wallpaper on your laptop. Is up to you, but the point is that you see it daily. Okay. This is super helpful. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys have tried this before, but I find it so helpful just to remind yourself on your goals, okay? To see them daily. It helps you remember. However, it doesn't help you to necessarily do them, okay? And we are going to get to this later because you can visualize your goal, but that doesn't mean you actually are taking action, okay? So we'll get into taking action in a minute. But we can kind of introduce the idea of taking action by thinking about choosing fewer but meaningful goals. This is something that helps me a lot. If I choose fewer goals, I feel like I'm more clear on what I want to do. And it also makes me more likely to focus and actually achieve them. Because if I set a list of like 20 goals, I'm like, by March, I already have forgotten about at least five of them. Okay, so for me, this is so key about choosing fewer meaningful goals, as in thinking what are the top five things or the top three things that you really want to achieve this year. Okay. Now, let's talk about action. So, for me, visualizing is not enough, okay? And I highly doubt it is enough for other people. So, you have to take action, right? In order to achieve your goals, you have to take action. So, how do you take action? Well, you break goals down into habits, okay? So, weekly plan plus commitment creates results. So the way I do it is my vision board has my main goals, okay? It reminds me of what my main goals are, but then I have to set a weekly plan that kind of includes a plan of action that I'm going to do every week in order to move closer to these goals, okay? That is key. You cannot just visualize. I mean, nothing gets done by looking. Okay, you have to take action and you have to take action on your weekly plan. It has to become a habit. Okay, so create a weekly plan of how you are moving towards your goal and actually commit to it. So, for this, you have to set a realistic plan. So, you have to plan, when, what times of the day you're going to do what, and so on, and commit to it. So make something that you can actually implement and do because that will be creating results. Okay, so it sounds easy, right? But apparently, a lot of people have goals that they never achieve. So it sounds easy, but it's not easy. It requires commitment, it requires authenticity, and it requires that you're honest with yourself about what your limits are and what your capabilities are and what your challenges are. It requires a lot of personal development. Okay, so one thing that I definitely need to include in this chat is flexibility. So sometimes, as much as we need commitment, it's so important to have flexibility because we are not robots. It's true that we are humans, and you are going to have days when you are literally just feeling ill or you have an emergency and you cannot carry on your weekly agenda the way you wish that you could. So plan with flexibility. Maybe that weekend you stay more at home and you do the hours you did not do on a Monday. Be flexible. It doesn't mean that you do not do the work. It just means that you're not beating yourself up if you are not doing exactly the work at the exact same time every day because things happen. It's true. But plan with flexibility, not with perfection, because that way you remove the fear of failure, okay? The fear of this has to happen. If not, I am a failure. This has to happen. Of course, you are working towards it and you will do your best. But having a bit of flexibility and understanding with yourself is also important to not overwhelm yourself. Okay. I mean, I would love to hear your thoughts. So any thoughts that you have, feel free to comment on the chat. Um, but yeah, one of the main things that blocks a lot of people from moving forward in their goals is actually not addressing fear and self-doubt. So a lot of people are not addressing fear and self-doubt, and so that is blocking them from achieving a lot of goals. And it's sad, but it's true. Let me give you an example. So for example, I am a beginner in YouTube, okay? And for example, I've spoken to other people who said to me, "Oh, I really want to start a YouTube channel, but to be fair, I'm a bit afraid of judgment." And that's completely fair, okay? But that is an example of how fear can block you from taking action towards your goals. And so you have to address it. So make a plan. How are you going to address your own fear or self doubt about this? You have to reflect a little bit about what your fears are, what might be a challenge that might prevent you from achieving your goals, and how can you address challenges to not let them stop you? Okay, so that is extremely important. So, guys, I think these are my main thoughts for today. I do want to finish up saying this is a really good quote that I found that really inspires me, and I hope that it inspires you as well. So, you don't need to become someone else in 2026. You just need to support the version of you that already knows what matters. Wow, that was so good. So good. I had to include this at the end. So, you do not need to become someone else because you already know what you want. You know what you want to achieve. You know what is serving you, and you know what's not serving you. You just have to trust yourself. You have to be honest with yourself and actually make a plan that works and take the action that you need to take so that in 2026 you can achieve your goals. So, guys, I hope that you find these helpful. Okay, so it's been a couple of us on the live stream, but this video will be seen later on by more people. And I hope that in the long run, in 2026, more and more people come to live streams. I will be doing webinars as well. So for me, live streams are such a good way of just getting out there and, sharing my ideas, thoughts, and also having other people sharing their own ideas, creating a sense of community, and so on. So, I mean, this is my third ever live stream. So, I hope that you enjoyed it. Comment your thoughts about, what my presentation was, if you liked it or not. And I hope that I can see you in the next one. We have someone else that just joined in. So welcome. I had just finished talking about setting goals for 2026. So I am definitely very excited for 2026, and I think that everything that I shared today can help a lot of people. But that's pretty much everything I had to say. I just want to thank you for joining in, and you can rewatch it later because it will be on my channel. Okay, thank you very much for coming in, and I will see you in the new year. Happy New Year, guys. Bye. Thank you. Bye.